So, AG, I want to talk a little bit about a particular $1 billion contract for the what was formerly known as the Ocean View Hotel. And to that, part A probably first, before you address the Ocean View contract. Would you think that all of these contracts and all of these appointments and all of these payouts, plus things like the Ocean View Hotel contract, might have been the contributory reasons why the APNU+AFC held on for 5 months or were willing to hold on for a longer period of time?
Certainly, what they did in office, they know cannot withstand scrutiny of any competent and professional type. The Auditor General and forensic auditors, when that time comes, will have a field day. The members of the Guyana Police Force, if they are called upon to investigate, will have a gold mine within which to operate. They, even before we got into government, I spoke about that contract. Firstly, it is a capital project, and there is and the sum is $1 billion or 1.6 billion. There's a capital project. Acquisition of an entire hotel can be current, and there is no and the money is taken from the consolidated fund without any parliamentary oversight. That is clearly in violation of the Constitution. Clearly in violation of the Constitution. And we said that from the beginning. So that's one.
Yep.
Two, you have the question of whether the money, whether it was not a reckless decision. And I'm speaking now in terms of law. The law is, would a competent Minister of Finance invest that volume of money in the circumstances on that property? And that question will have to be embraced and confronted at some point in time.
Right.
What are the factors to take into account? One, was such a facility needed? Is 1.6 billion a reasonable cost to expend on the facility? Thirdly, is it a government property? Fourthly, what did 1.6 billion expended achieve? What did it achieve?
Right.
And for each of those issues, the question will have to be, would a prudent, reasonably competent finance minister preside over that kind of expenditure and authorize that kind of expenditure? Speaking for myself, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that contract and that project is tainted with criminal recklessness and criminal negligence. After spending all that money, they rented the place. That's the first thing. So you acknowledge, that minister knew that you're spending $1.6 billion on a property that the government doesn't own, because you cannot be in doubt. You signed a rental agreement. It is not that now somebody is bringing a letter and professing to own it. They rented it. And remember, a minister of finance, like every other minister, owe a fiduciary duty to the taxpayer in relation to the expenditure of taxpayers' funds. Right. It's the same kind of responsibility that a director owes to a shareholder.
Right.
would a director transform it into a private company or a public company? Imagine a director of a company using shareholders' funds in that way. Are you telling me that those shareholders are without legal remedy against him? Cannot be. The law is not that inadequate.
Right.
So I am saying, so you have that money being spent on private property. Then you begin a process, I see, based upon what is published in the newspapers, to compulsorily acquire.
Yeah.
Would that, you rent the man property, you do not pay him rent, and you are now purporting to compulsorily acquire the property? From top to bottom of this transaction smacks of illegality and conspiracy too, because I don't know what role this man was playing, Rambaran.
Right.
He
Right.
doesn't, I don't get the impression, because he rented first, then he go and get himself a valuation for some 15 million US, never acts a day, never sent a rent, has not paid for a whole year, has not sent a letter asking for rent. When the new government comes into power and gets into office, you write us? So the whole transaction has to be forensically examined and appropriate action taken. What I can tell you, quite apart from process, what I can tell you, and any person listening to us can go there, any person qualified in quantity valuation can go there and see what was achieved or accomplished with 1.6 billion.